What's up, man? It has been a while. Life's been busy, but glad you have me on here. It's good times.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds like you're kind of a little sick on your end. Like, does it seem like you've been overworked as of late?
No, I guess just early. I'm tired in general. Life's tiring. I'm lazy.
Yeah, I guess, part of it might be due to wrestling, which, we'll go ahead and start talking about that first. A little
Yeah.
bit of your wrestling background. You've been posting up a lot of wrestling content on your YouTube channel, like matches, and then you've also been posting up your wrestling documentary about talking about like how you got into the business. Like, was there ever a point at time where you just got tired to the point where it's like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore, or has your
Uh,
passion and hobby for it driven you to continue to do that?
well, there's been moments where it's like, is this worth it? I'm banged up. I'm tired. Have to spend a lot of money, have to drive, have to, you know, just in general work hard. With anything, there's always going to be doubts, but I've had those moments where I was close to quitting. Not so much when I started, but a lot of them in the middle, especially with school, with work, with family life, things like that. I've had my doubts, but I mean, I don't really wrestle as much as I used to, so it's a lot more laid back now. I'm just doing about once or twice a month and just kind of doing it as a side hobby on top of everything else I'm doing right now. So it's not too bad.
Now, I know you've originally said that there's been certain, like, well-known wrestlers like Devon Dudley or, like, Lance Storm that has actually made appearances to indie type of matches. Has there been anybody in, like, I would say the professional quality level that you guys have had at RCW or any type of company that you've actually worked in on the
Well,
indies that you've loved to enjoy wrestling with?
lots of companies I've wrestled for, we've had special guests. Lots of times they'll do like once a month where they'll bring somebody down to draw a little bit more people in. I've RCW alone has had like Marty Jannetty, Homicide, Devon Dudley, Luke Gallows, Mike Knox. We've had Japanese guys. Great Muda has showed up at RCW before, like 10 years ago.
Oh,
We've
nice.
had we've had we're gonna have Bushwhacker Luke in January. We're having Tatanka this month. We had Godfather the month before that. We've had Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We've had a lot of different names. I'm probably not even thinking of all of them right now. And I've had the opportunity to be in the ring with some of them or tag with some of them. So it's been pretty cool. Other companies I've been at, they've had guys like Heidenreich, Jamal. I've been on shows with, local guys that were back in the 80s, like Akbar and a couple other people. Lots of older names that a lot of people today might not remember or know about. But yeah, I've, I've, I've been on cards with several different, I guess you would call name talents.
Yeah, like mainly popular ones from either be TNA, Ring of Honor, or even like the WWE, because I know a lot of guys that would be like before they would be under a Legends contract, they would be like going over to the different indie shows and then they would wrestle or make some kind of appearance. Like, has there been like one name in particular that you've enjoyed wrestling with the most, or has it been like a lot of them have been like the most enjoyable to wrestle for?
Actually, Alyssa Flash, who's also called Cheerleader Melissa, she was in TNA and she's done a few other things. Basically, she was real fun. We had a pretty good feud. That was like a summer long feud, and we traded the RCW belt quite a few times. It was pretty fun. I really enjoyed having the matches against her.
Has there been like any time where you might be thinking to yourself, it's like, oh shit, I might screw this match up? Like, has there ever been a time like that at all?
Oh no. I mean, yeah, there's going to be nervousness and you're going to be nervous about stuff, but it's never been like where I was like, "Oh man, I'm going to screw up." It's a matter of just going out there and listening to, you know, the person that's more experienced and stuff like that.
Okay, so any particular wrestler at all that's out there right now that has not made an appearance yet at an RCW or any other indie event yet that you would love to have, like, any sort of interaction with, or any particular, like, wrestling match dream that you would like to have?
Yeah, actually, Ric Flair's my dream opponent, but that's probably not going to happen because, you know, he's Legends contract and he's probably pretty hefty in price, but that's my dream match.
Yeah, I've actually heard from a couple of friends saying that, like, just to be able to get, like, an autograph from him, he would ask, like, $100 plus, depending on the number of items you bring, and it's just,
Yeah.
it's so fucking expensive to get someone like him in.
Oh, definitely. I mean, but that's their money, I guess.
Okay, so, let's see, moving away from the wrestling thing, I want to talk a little bit about Final Bosses. Now, the website recently went up, and congratulations to you guys for at least making a bit of an impression on everybody on that. Now, has there really been any sort of, like, new content that you guys have not really featured yet on the website that you guys would like to maybe discuss a little bit about, or is it all hush-hush at the moment?
To be honest, we really don't tell each other what we're going to put on. There was some stuff that I was going to do for Halloween, but it didn't come out. And ended up, I was going to do some B-movie reviews, but I saw that James Ralph reviewed yesterday one of the videos that I was working on. So I don't want to be considered a ripoff just because you know how the internet is. They're like, oh, this guy's ripping him off. I watched the movies like a month ago and wrote reviews down, and I hadn't finished it, and then I turned on Cinemassacre and I see that he reviewed it. So I was like, well, I guess I can't do that idea. But I was going to do a few Halloween themed videos, and then I was going to do a couple of movie reviews. I know some of the guys are thinking about that, but as far as like knowing what we're going to do, it's kind of like, I guess we really don't talk about it to each other. I don't know why, but there's a lot of stuff coming up. I'm obviously going to do the Fat Gamer stuff that a lot of people have seen recently. That one is actually one of the things that's doing good on the site. And I guess it's because people, I guess, like to watch train wrecks. I don't know. The site's not doing as good whoops, sound on my computer. Site's not doing as good as we would like it to do, obviously, but it's still only just a little over a month old. So, I mean, there's a lot of time to grow. So we're not in a major rush to get like, oh, people need to come to the site now. We need to get people to know about the site first. Cause I've seen a lot of people, met a lot of people, especially like at Retropaloozas last week where they weren't even aware of the website. So now we got to get people aware of it and get them used to knowing about it first.
Well, since you brought up the whole Fat Gamer show, like, I do agree that that's, like, one of the best fucking video series on the web right now, and honestly, seeing all of that nasty shit get put together, like, I don't know, like, the Nacho PB&J thing looked like it could be good at first, but it's like, I don't know, just salty chips and, like, a lot of that stuff altogether might make me sick and shit.
Yeah, it didn't look too good, appetizing, but it tasted pretty good.
Let's see, one of the recipes, the one that you uploaded recently, which was the Mountain Dew and Doritos. How bad on a scale of 1 to 10 would you say that was?
It was pretty bad. That was real puke. I would say it was at least like 8, 10 being the worst. It was at least an 8 or a 9. It was not appetizing at all. There's no way anybody could keep that. So I'm interested to see how Mountain Dew's going to make the actual Doritos drink be tolerable, because this was bad. I couldn't even describe how gross it was and how gross it looked. The whole idea came from Boogie. Boogie did a video making it, and I saw him over Retropalooza weekend, and there was a Family Feud panel where one of the answers was Mountain Dew and Doritos for what could be seen in a gamer's kitchen, and nobody guessed that question, and we just thought it was ridiculous, and basically we just had an inside joke about Mountain Dew and Doritos all weekend. Pretty much, I figured, hey, I should probably make this drink since I saw Boogie do it, and yeah, so we went ahead and did it.
Yeah, I would honestly say that more times, whenever it comes to like any, whether it be like retro gamer or just a avid gaming player, that most of the time I usually see a lot more healthy eating choices. Now, do you think that it's becoming more obvious that that's happening around your area, or does it seem like it's a slow phase for people to try to eat healthier?
It's definitely a people trying to eat healthier nowadays. Um, that's a given, and that's also the other thing that I think attracts people the most to it is that it's that train wreck mentality where people like to look at a train wreck. It's going to be like there's this guy eating gross, disgusting food who calls himself that. Of course, people are going to tune in to watch it.
I just couldn't really like see eating like a lot of the big huge burgers that sell at certain restaurants, like what was it, the triple bypass that you tried to eat on the season 2 finale of Game
Yeah,
Chasers?
that was so tough to eat. It was pretty bad. Actually, that'd be kind of fun to see if I could get the footage to that and upload that. That would be a good idea because that was some pretty hardcore stuff.
I would say so, especially with like it being so much fucking meat and vegetables. Like, how bad were you shitting after that went
Oh, I
down?
was plugged up. I didn't shit at all.
Oh, it was like all gas, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I was plugged up. I fucking felt like I was going to basically die. I felt like I was drunk. It was a lot of grease. It was not a good feeling at all. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was just gonna fucking die. That's how bad it felt eating that.
Okay, so moving away from food topics, and of course final bosses, and for those that don't know about the website, check down in the description below of the recording and check out finalbosses.com. You will not be disappointed with the exclusive content that's up there right now. But moving away from that, I do want to, of course, talk about something gaming related, and I think something that, to me, honestly, is very near and dear to like everybody's hearts who knew him very well. But that person I want to talk about is Keeb. And I want to say that when I first met you, Billy, and Jay in a Skype call one day, and I had messaged Jay, and one of the things he told me to be able to talk to you guys was to contact Keeb, add him on your Skype, and to have him call. So I had no idea who this was. And I got added into the call, and it was just someone with like a younger sounding voice. Didn't sound too old or too young, just kind of in the middle of being young. But it was like from the first time I started talking with him that he really grew on to me, and he became probably one of the best friends that I ever got to talk to for like about the year and a half that I got to know him. And like, if it wasn't for Keeb, I would have not knew you, Billy, Jay, or Christian, for example. And one thing I do want to ask is like, the first time that you met Keeb, did it kind of throw you off that he would have been as outgoing as some people would have thought he was?
Yeah, he definitely was an interesting guy. First time I met him, he kind of caught me off guard, just because I think he was probably one of the most crazy people I know, to be honest. Very cool guy. I miss him dearly every day. It was like when I first met him, he already was jumping in to talk smack, and I don't know, it's like he knew me, which I found that very amusing and pretty funny. I recall the first time I even heard of him was that Mayonnaise Challenge video. It was hilarious, and then I actually was kind of excited when I saw he was on the Skype call with us one day because it's like, oh, here's the mayonnaise guy. So.
And honestly, I think what kind of inspired the whole gaming community, more like game community. I think that was mainly started off from Keeb's video, and then nowadays you just see everybody starting to say.
Actually, the whole gaming community thing was actually done at Con Bravo, and I helped him come up with that. I actually shot the video of him in our hotel room and told him to say that, and then he just kept it up, and he had a blast. Meeting him at Con Bravo was amazing. It was fun, and we didn't get to spend time like at conventions. We really don't get to spend time with each other so much, and we felt bad when we tried to go game chasing with Keeb. And so we went with him and his mom to go eat at A&W, and that was a fun little memory I have of Keeb. That was probably like my favorite, and it wasn't even involving games or game hunting or anything like that. It was just hanging out and having fun.
Yeah, I remember talking with him, like, when he was in the lobby, he only saw me on Skype because I think you guys were getting your stuff packed up or whatever before leaving, and he would always gloat about how he got to hang out with you guys and the fact that he got his little press pass because he kept saying, like, people knew me and wanted my autograph. And it was so awesome to see that he was enjoying himself, and it still shocks me that he isn't here with us anymore, because I'd be expecting, like, almost nightly for him to get us all in a Skype call, whether it had been annoying as everybody remembers it is, but
yeah.
it was always worth it to be able to hear him on the other line.
Oh, yeah, I remember that last night before he passed. He called me I guess he was having his karaoke night, 1,000 sub celebration, and he called me at least 5 times that day. And I had a wrestling show, so I was busy, and I was like, Keeb, I'm not home yet. Keeb, I'm not. And it does sadden me that I didn't get to answer or talk to him. But I mean, even until his last day, he was just Keeb. He never changed for anybody, and I thought it was great, how good of a guy he was. And, to this day, I joke around, me and Billy joke around saying, what if this is just a big troll by Keeb? And one day we're just going to get a call from him on Skype, and he's be like, I got you. I got every single one of you fuckers. And, we're like, man, what if Keeb's trolling us? That'd be awesome. But sadly it's not. But I mean, people bring him up all the time. I can't go to a convention without somebody bringing him up, so I'm sure he would be super happy to know that if there was a way that he could know that people talk about him more than ever. I mean, we've had full panels where we say, who here knows who Keeb was, and the whole room raises their hand. So I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah, it's really hard to pinpoint like a really awesome thing that he did, because it's just too big of a greatest hits album, and there's like no fucking like thing that I could just pick. It would be like way too big of a list. But yeah, I would say that probably my favorite memory was, it was a clip that I recorded and posted up on my YouTube channel about him wrestling the Mario doll that was about as big as he was.
Oh yeah.
We were even thinking about him like jumping off the couch to do like a Macho Man elbow drop, but we thought it's like that's too dangerous for him, so just do it while standing up, and then he just kind of flops on top of it.
Yeah, that was good times. The Mario doll.
Yeah, and then there's what was it, like some of the messages or recordings that we told him to tell Regina because he wanted to date her and possibly fuck her or something.
Asking for pictures and stuff. It's pretty funny. We actually talked about that the other day too when I saw them at Retropalooza. It was pretty funny. And then we would have them troll people and all that. I miss those days.
I kind of wish that they would still hope to continue, but I mean, it's not going to happen anymore. But we've got a lot of memories with him, and it's going to be tough without seeing the guy anymore. And
definitely.
Okay, so moving away from that tearjerker, it's kind of nice actually talking about Keeb a little bit, but I want to see about anybody that you've been watching recently that you feel that you look up to as like a bit of inspiration. Now, it doesn't have to be Keeb, it has to be like maybe somebody else as well that you feel that deserves a lot more attention that you don't feel gets a lot of views on their videos?
I really, let's see, like out of people that I watched, I like Game Dave. Think he's pretty good. Game and Historian should be getting more. I know he gets a lot now, but he should be getting more. I actually got to get to know Gerard the Completionist recently. He's a really cool guy. Even though he does have a handful, like, of, millions of views and stuff. I think he's a guy that should have a bigger audience. Overall, I think all the people I know should be getting a bigger audience because everybody's just so cool and down to earth. I've never really met anybody that was kind of with their head in the clouds, really. So, overall, I think everybody should be growing up a little bit more, but it's kind of tough with as many people as there is out there today, which is why I'm kind of not focused on myself like people say, oh, you just want to be YouTube famous. If I wanted to be YouTube famous, I would have quit a long time ago because it's not happening. I haven't made that much off of it to warrant me wanting to become YouTube famous. I'm doing it just because I enjoy doing it. I'm doing it because I have friends that do it. I'm doing it because I like games. That's plain and simple. And lots of people like to bring negativity out and talk mess on others. But, I found out the more negativity you get towards you, that means you're doing something right.
Yeah, how do you feel about the haters that comment on the Game Chasers videos telling you that you're just riding their coattails and that you get caught slipping and you don't want to admit it?
Yeah, I don't even pay attention to it. I don't acknowledge any of that.
Because I like to see that people are doing it just as a hobby, and that if they were doing it for any other reasons, then it just feel more like a job, and we all don't like jobs, except for those that run a business, but even still, that's stressful as it is. But it's good to see that there's people that appreciate what they have, rather than just taking it for granted.
Exactly, that's it.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the same thing with game collecting also, which, has there ever been at one point where you feel that, like, any game or system would be out of reach or out of budget for you to get that you've wanted to get so near dear to your heart?
Oh, yeah, Panic Restaurant, of course. Anybody that saw that Game Chasers episode, I actually got a reproduction card sent to me. Somebody sent me a reproduction card of Panic Restaurant, and I thought that was a nice gesture because that's probably my most wanted game, like above Little Samson. As far as consoles go, can't think of anything off the top of my head, but some of the bigger NES titles that I'm looking out for. But I mean, I could deal without ever getting them. I could deal with getting repro cards or just, not. I mean, games. I'm only willing to pay so much for a game. If it's unrealistic, I'm not gonna give my limb or my right arm or anything like that to do it. I mean, there was a guy that bought a stadium events for $7,000 at Retropalooza. To me, that's a little bit ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
I thought that game was like 5,000 or something like that, or did it go up in price recently?
I have no idea, but any game over $100 is a little ridiculous in my opinion.
Would that even include something like Samson or Restaurant Panic?
Yeah.
Or Panic Restaurant?
Yeah, it's unreal. To me, it's ridiculous. I'm not willing to go that far for one of those games.
Yeah, I can understand that, especially with the new Super Nintendo CD prototype that came out, that there's only been one in existence so far, and there's supposedly, if he decides to sell it, that there's maybe going to be like over $1,000 that will be sold of that item. Now, would that be something considerable if it was like maybe one item in existence?
I don't know, dude. I'd rather use my money wisely. Not that games aren't fun to collect, but to me, a game is not worth, spending that much on top,
Yeah, to use on like maybe a new house or like
a
car or groceries or something else important. And I think that's usually the most important thing right now. Okay, so I guess we'll go ahead and stick to the final question, and this is something that a long time ago I used to ask any person that I interviewed in my old series about if they could go back in time at anywhere in the world, where would you go and why? And I guess I want to ask you that specific question.
So, if I could go back in time anywhere in the world and why?
Yes.
Probably right before Facebook was invented, so I can invent it and become rich.
Become like an instant fucking millionaire. Just what would you do with all that money?
Man, I would invest in other things. Like, I would go from Facebook to inventing Instagram I would invent all those social medias.
Jeez. And creating so many ideas, be like the next Walt Disney or Bill Gates, and just be creative that way.
Definitely, dude. I mean, that's where it's at. And now it's like me and my buddy were sitting the other night thinking about what we can do to become the next big thing, and it's like what's out there that's left to do, you know?
Yeah, it's a lot of work to consider any original ideas.
What was the thought process when Facebook and stuff like that was made? Like, were they just like, hey, there should be a website that people can message each other and have a profile? It seems so simple. It's like, now what's the next simple thing that needs to be invented, you know?
Probably something that's already well known with everybody, but just in a simplified application or just some website for people to chat or whatever.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows?
There's no telling until somebody releases some kind of website or introductory link and it basically gets blown over media and people easily chew that stuff up.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so I know this wasn't a very long episode, but I think that's it for the questions. Thank you very much again, man. It's always a pleasure to be able to talk with you and the others.
For sure, man. For sure, anytime. Lots of things coming out, man. So if anybody's listening to this, please check out Final Bosses. Check out my channel. Please sub. We got a lot of stuff coming out. So yeah, don't be shy. Come join.